People are going to give you every sob story in the book. I mean, they are just going, I've just done this and did that and I can't pay my rent. And you have to sit there and again, take that emotional side out of it and say, you know what? This is a decision.
You talked about how you failed miserably in the beginning.
Mhm.
So obviously, at managing 1,500 doors, you figured some stuff out. So what's the number one secret to being a killer landlord?
Yeah, you know what I did? It was I just knew if I just learned that side of it, uh, I could really succeed. So what I did is I actually quit my job and worked for a very large property management firm for just a little while, just so I can use their forms and just kind of learn how to do it. And some of the things that I learned again is that emotional thing. People are going to give you every sob story in the book. I mean, they are just going, I've just done this and did that and I can't pay my rent. And you have to sit there and again, take that emotional side out of it and say, you know what? This is a decision. My bank doesn't care that you can't pay your rent. So I still have to come up with my payment, right? So you have to make business decisions. That's something I learned early on is not to buy into any of the stories because that story is going to turn into another story and then another story. And then your other tenants going to learn that they gave you sob stories and then they want to do it. And so you're going to fail. So stick to your guns, make smart business decisions, and you'll be a good landlord.
Yeah, that's interesting. So how do you kind of walk that line between having that compassion and for people, and
Mhm.
sometimes people do fall on hard times. Like when how do you discern what's true and what's not, or are you just a hard ass the whole time and you're
No, no, I'm not a hard ass the entire time. Look, if one thing, if you've paid on time every month for 2 years, and then all of a sudden something came up, I might be a little more lenient. If man, after the first month, it's just the excuses start coming, then I'm like going, hey, you know what? You got to prove yourself to me. And even some of the good ones, it's like, all right, send me a letter from your boss or show me something. Don't just and you tell them it's like, look, I want to have some compassion. You got to show me some proof, and it's just for my files. Tell them whatever excuse you want. This is for my files. This is just so that we can confirm that something's going on. If something is going on, we'll work with you. I'll put you in touch with some charities that can help you pay your rent. So we do help some people out, but I learned, man, it's just get some proof, get some, just don't take their word for it because 99% of the time they're just blowing smoke. You're on mute.
What type of
There you
property
go.
class were you uh, investing in at that point where you were getting that
Mm.
type of tenant?
Yeah, I have always stuck with the lower B to the C. The A's are all the REITs, the corporate and things like that, and just extremely small rates of return, cap rates. I like the C's because the C's, um, your tenant's not going to move a lot. They can't afford to move, so all they want is something clean,
Mm.
nice, uh, a roof over their head. And as long as you're keeping everything clean and keeping the riffraff out, you get some really, really good tenants in the C class type neighborhoods. I've had some of the D's. I thought they were C's, they were D's. I'm like, oh my God, you know,
Yeah,
it's
nightmare.
like, oh, it's not, picking up needles on the stairs and just, just the trash. And um, I'm like, oh my God, people,
Yeah.
I could just like condemn this place, but you don't. You get rid of them. You do what you can. It's a business decision. You made the choice to purchase it. Do what you got to do.
How how do you um how do you determine what like building you're going to be buying?
Yeah. Good question, and it's different. You know, when we're talking multifamily, I do a market analysis on how many C classes are in there, what are their market rents. Then I do a lot of research on. I get the rent rolls, and I see when did people start moving in, what are their rents, because you learn really quick that, man, this place is 95% occupied, but if you're not careful you didn't realize that they put everyone in a month ago, which means they're not vetted, they're just trying to make their numbers look good. And so there's that. But then when I look at buildings, I sit there and say, okay, how can I improve this, and is it in a market where I can improve it? You know, this it all the comps might be better apartment complexes, and that's why they're getting performers of higher rents. But in that specific neighborhood, I may be tapped out, even though 4 blocks away they're paying 100, $150 more. You know, so you have to really do some research on that specific neighborhood or that side of the street or whatever you want to say, and then sit there and say, okay, how can I do the value add? How can I do I have to go in and I know that there needs new carpeting or new plumbing or new parking lot, new paint. You know, you just sit there and just you do. I'm a spreadsheet junkie, and do just
Okay.
all of that analysis to find out if I even want to do that building or not.